Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Let's talk about the Disney era of Star Wars again. Star Wars The Force Awakens and its two sequels were not the only Star Wars-related movies that were going to come out under Disney's belt, as I stated in my last Star Wars video. In fact, there were several spin-off films simply titled Star Wars Stories. There were going to be Boba Fett films, a Han Solo film, an Obi-Wan Kenobi film, and then there was Rogue One. Rogue One was the story of the rebels who sacrificed themselves to save the galaxy from the Death Star, the weapon of the Empire. This led into the events of the first Star Wars film, aka the first film I ever reviewed. #shameless plug. Nowadays, we live in a world where two of these movies actually happen, and the other two got turned into Disney Plus exclusive shows coming this year and next year. Rogue One is one of the movies that got a successful theatrical release, as it brought in over $1 billion. But is it any good in the end? We're going to find out today. This is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Brace yourselves. You're going to have to listen a lot. Rogue One stars Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Ben Mendelsohn, Riz Ahmed, Mads Mikkelsen, and Alan Tudyk. Genevieve O'Reilly reprises her role as Mon Mothma, the leader of the Rebel Alliance. O'Reilly portrayed the character for 2005's Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, but her scenes were cut. The film also sees two actors from the films reprise their iconic roles. James Earl Jones is the voice of Darth Vader. The character is portrayed by Spencer Wilding and Daniel Napros, and Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. From Lucasfilm comes the first of the Star Wars standalone films, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. An all-new epic adventure. In a time of conflict, a group of unlucky heroes band together on a mission to steal the plans to the Death Star, the Empire's ultimate weapon of destruction. This key event in the Star Wars timeline brings together ordinary people who choose to do extraordinary things, and in doing so, become part of something greater than themselves. I told you it was a lot to take in, but surprisingly it doesn't feel like that, considering this is a Gareth Edwards project. If you've seen the 2014 Godzilla film, you know what I'm talking about. But let's get to my analyzation. The characters are great. Jyn Erso was fun to watch on screen. My favorite scene with her is when she puts in the code for the Death Star plans for the Rebel Alliance. Cassian Andor is also great. He does some really cool stuff in this film. He even kills someone off right after assuring the other guy that he was going to be okay. That means Andor means business. Don't mess with him. His droid K2SO is the comedic relief, but he doesn't get in the way of the story. Chirrut Îmwe is my favorite character personally. I think that he is the closest thing we'll ever get to a Jedi in this film. Yep, there are no Jedi. I also think that his sacrifice was the most emotional of the bunch. Yep, spoilers, everyone that is a major character dies in the end. Baze Malbus is also great, though he does have a stick up his butt for 95% of his screen time. There's your warning. Bodhi Rook is probably my least favorite character of the bunch, because he has less of a personality than the others. Though Riz Ahmed does a great job playing this character to make him likable. Now we have the villains. Tarkin is played by someone who is CGI'd to look like Peter Cushing. It's not too distracting in my opinion, but it can be sometimes. Director Krennic is the main villain in this film. And I have to say, Ben Mendelsohn does a great job at playing a whiny brat. He literally makes that role understandable. But then we have the return of Darth Vader, my favorite Star Wars character and my favorite villain of all time. He's only on screen for a brief amount of time, but he sure leaves an impression, especially with that hallway scene, which in my opinion is the best scene in the movie. Okay, enough of the characters. How are the visuals? If you think Disney CGI faces are distracting, then you won't really like the visuals. But I think that these are the best visual effects in the Disney era Star Wars films. The Death Star, the blaster shots, the face, sometimes, Darth Vader's lightsaber, and even space itself. They're all great. How's the music? John Williams isn't there this time, but in his place is another one of my all-time favorite composers as well, Michael Giacchino. Yes, that's how you say his name, Giacchino, not Galancio, not Giacchino, Michael Giacchino. I'm going too far with this. It perfectly replicates John Williams' score. Hopefully, they hire him to do more scores for Star Wars projects like this. The action is fantastic. The Darth Vader hallway scene and the Battle of Scarif are my personal favorites, whilst the others are also pretty great, but nowhere near as impactful as these two. So, what's my final verdict? Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is one of the best films in the Disney era and one of the best Star Wars films ever. Definitely in my top 6. With great characters, great action, great music, and great visual effects, Rogue One is such a blast to watch. That's one of the reasons, among many others, why I can't give this film anything but a solid 10 out of 10. One of the best films of a generation, and one of the best films of a franchise. Well, that's it for this review. What are your thoughts on Rogue One: A Star Wars Story? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Tune in next week when I take a look at the sequel to the worst MCU film. If you don't remember what I picked, then, well, just go through my video list and check it out. That said, I'm Mr. CCS. This is Movie Central. And that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.